right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for coming here on this very rainy weather. I wouldn't usually myself want to walk out there, but you guys made it. Uh, Thank you so much for coming. I hope you're enjoying your bread. And hopefully if at the end there's even more bread, please go ahead and take it. We don't want to make any waste, so feel free to eat and enjoy. Before we get started with the main topic of today and why we have invited the guest speaker, I want to take a minute or two to tell you quickly about this logo you see up there. I can assume maybe many of you haven't ever seen this logo or know what is it about. I didn't know it up until 2 years ago myself, but now it has changed my life. So Bèta is a party in the Central Student Council of TU Delft. So the Central Student Council is basically 10 students who work 1 year full-time to represent all the other students of TU Delft. So we have 25,000 students, and their voice needs to be heard by the managers and the presidents and the rector magnificus of the university. And that's the job for the Central Student Council. And Bèta is a party in this Central Student Council. So this is the current faction of Bèta. We have Maaike from the left, she's sitting here, me, Nima, and Charlotte and Niels. So basically, all four of us have taken this year to learn more about how TU Delft works and what is the need of students, and we are basically the middleman between the students and the decisions makers of TU Delft. So we take a lot of time on reading papers and material, going to meetings, and making sure that TU Delft is working the way it's working. So if you're happy with it, I'm glad. Maybe you're doing your job correctly. But if you have any criticism, if you have any suggestions, you want university to improve in some certain aspects, we are here to hear from you and make your voice heard. So please feel free to come to us. And on that note, we have our social media here. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, all sorts of social media. Do follow us, send us a message there. If you do that, then you're helping us, helping you make university better for every student, right? So with that note, I would like to tell you more about our speaker. So why are we here? This is the first episode on a series of episodes that we called Bèta Talks. So Bèta in Dutch, I'm not from Netherlands, by the way, so correct me if I'm wrong, is referring to all the studies that are technical. So, and we are Bèta, we're here for Bèta studies, and this is called Bèta Talks, but this is beyond only technical aspects. This is about learning how we could grow together, study together, and live on this campus. So it's about the campus climate as well. And hence, the intercultural communication, which is the topic of today. As I see in this group, there are a lot of international students as well as Dutch students. So this is apparent that TU Delft is a global university, consists of people from all sorts of backgrounds. And how this dynamic works between the people makes a huge difference. We see from very bad frustrations, people having hard time communicating, to very good stories, people happy working with people from different backgrounds. A lot of background info, but now let me tell you about Roberto Rocco. He is our speaker. He's assistant professor at architecture and urbanism and built environment faculty. Am I right? That's a very long mouthful name. He's been giving this same lecture to the architecture students for a couple of years now. He's been here in Netherlands for the past 16 years. Am I right? So I would say, from what I heard, he's quite integrated, but coming from Brazil, I'm sure you also have a lot of experience from different countries. That's why we invited him to come and share this lecture to all of us and see what we could learn. Roberto, with that note, I invite you to the stage, and please.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry for the, we need to change the, let's see if this will work. Yes. All right, well, let's do it. This is the first time I address a group from across the university, so I'm a bit nervous because I don't know you and I don't know what you expect. But my name is Roberto. I have a very Italian name, but I'm not Italian. I come from Brazil. I'm an associate professor of spatial planning and strategy. So that's something that deals with how cities work, how we plan our cities, And I'm also short. I'm also aging. Like, I'm not going to tell you when I was born because I'm ashamed. I'm also gay. And I have multiple identities. So that's important for us to know that when you come to the university, maybe you will deal with different reactions to your different identities. We are all very different, right? And today I want to talk with you about how we deal with this, how we perceive this and how we are perceived. To my surprise, when I came here, I was telling Michael the other day, I thought, okay, well, maybe, I'm going to work in a technical university. The fact that I'm gay, it's like, maybe I'll have some problems. But surprise, I didn't. But because I was South American, maybe I had a little bit more problems than I expected. So it was a bit surprising to me that one of my identities was more important than the other. And I was like, that's a bit confusing. But let's have a look at what diverse and cross-cultural communication mean for a global university, which we are, right? We are a global university. So first of all, thank you so much for inviting me. These guys are doing a really nice job, and I think they are really interested to talk about the things that really matter, and I think that's very important. So thanks a lot. Are you still looking for members?
Yes.
Yes, so that's a good. So my story begins in 2000 when the university started to internationalize. You might think that QDUC has always been like this, but it hasn't. It was a very Dutch university, which is very good. We are in the Netherlands. But they felt that they needed to look further and look wider also, and to attract people from all over the world and to become a global university. So this story begins then and has really changed the face of the university. From a little bit more than 18%, well, 18% of foreigners in 2003, we now have 36%. So it is quite a big change to what the university used to be. Not only that, but our university has shot in the rankings, right? That's really surprising and very, very welcome. We are one of the best universities in the world. And some faculties are even really super high in the rank. The faculty where I am is the third best faculty of architecture in the world. So we do attract people from all over the world. Everybody wants to study here. But yes, internationalization means internationalization of the student body. So you guys are 70% Dutch, 30% foreigners. But the teachers have also become international, and the subjects that we study have also become international. So that's a big change. That's a map showing where staff comes from. Where do you think, well, you can see by the color, but you can't really see exact numbers. Where do you think most staff come from, apart from the Dutch? What's the country with more international teachers?
Germany.
Well, Germany, they are very big. Well, the Germans, they are here, huh? Italians are the biggest group of international teachers in our faculty. It's really very surprising, right? But other things have happened in our world that have changed how universities behave. Women empowerment, globalization, European integration, rise of countries in the global south, and I'm talking about China, India, and others. Normalization of LGBT people, increasing diversity of societies at large, and in our Dutch society is very diverse, immigration, and so on. This is a bit of a fallout to Delft, because we are not doing very well in all fields. We still have a huge imbalance in men, women in leading positions in our university. So there are many more men than women. And that is obviously a big, big problem. But, well, we are in the right direction and things are changing, albeit a little bit slower than I would like to. So we are here talking about an incredible amount of diversity that's happening in our university, right? And diversity means that it's about, diversity is about what makes us different. But is it bad to be different? Are people all the same? I don't think so. I think people are valuable for what they are. And we all want to be accepted for who we are and not be like everybody else, right? I think. You might disagree, but what? So diversity is about what brings us, makes us different, but what do you think brings us together? What brings us together to this university? What brings you here? Michael?
Education.
Education, so everybody wants to be educated. What else? Do you have a, huh? Food? Did you say food? You're joking. Oh, the food you mean for today. Okay, good. Okay, well, there are lots of things that bring us together, I think. One of them is pride. I'm very proud of working at Untitled. I like international environments. I like to be with people who are different. And I like to have this societal mission. Everything I do thinking about the public. And I'm sure that a lot of what you do is related to the public, right? You are working, or will work, and are working right now for society. And I think that's very important as a core value that we have. And I'm very proud of that. It's about all these things that bring us together and make us proud to be here. And the public nature of what we do. So obviously I am in urban planning, it's very public, but every profession here has an impact on how people live, on the lives of people, so it has a public nature. To illustrate this, what I think about that, I use this ruler that was designed by a professor in Lima, Peru. Is there any Peruvian here? Is there any Latin American here? Where are you from? Mexico, okay, good. Are there people from the Middle East? Okay, not a lot. From South Asia? Not a lot. From India, I suppose? Okay. From Europe? Majority, yes. From Southern Europe? Where are you from? Italy, okay, cool. Well, we are quite varied here. Well, this professor, she was sick and tired of this little ruler that has all the little people drawn in the same way. And she said, but that's not what people look in reality. You know, we architects need to put little people in our drawings to give the scale. And she decided to invent this ruler and to illustrate how we are so different from each other and for whom we are working. So that's very important. Sometimes I find that students don't have it very clear that we are working for people who are very different from us. What does this bring us? It brings us a multiplicity of worldviews and knowledge. So people from different origins, they know different things, and therefore they can contribute to different things. They have diverse cultural perspectives that can inspire creativity. So if we have different people, I think we become more creative and innovative. And there is a great opportunity for personal growth. I think you agree with me, if you were here, that we grow a lot by talking to people who are different from us. And I will tell you something very personal. When I connect with somebody who is very different from me, I feel liberated. I feel like, oh, this is so great. Yes? I know you're totally different. So it has to do with the richness and variety of our human experience. And this human experience is here also at the Technical University, I hope. But what are the challenges? There are challenges to diversity and to cross-cultural communication. It's not always green pastures. Let's see. Colleagues from some cultures may be less likely to let their voices be heard. Many cultures have an indirect way of communicating, and they might be shy to tell you on your face what they think, right? It's a cultural thing, and I think it's nice to be aware of that. Integration across multicultural teams can be difficult in the face of prejudice or negative cultural stereotypes. So maybe it's not easy for you to imagine what is it to feel a prejudice or negative stereotype. But for some of you, I think it's painfully close that sometimes when you're different, people treat you differently. And because you're from some country, Roberto, he's from Brazil, he must be lazy. Or he must be, he must not be so reliable. So I can tell him things, but I don't know what he's thinking. So this kind of prejudice related to your origin is very, very damaging, actually, and hurtful many times. I heard, talking about stereotypes, I heard from a German guy the other day a very interesting comment. He said, well, positive stereotypes are also bad because people expect from me that I'm very, very rigid, that I'm very disciplined, and that I do things on time, and I'm not at all like that. So what do I do? I'm not a typical German. So what do I do? So positive stereotypes can be a bit complicated as well. Well, communication can be misinterpreted across different languages and cultures, and we are going to talk about that a little bit more. Different understandings of professional etiquette. So, my Indian friends, I really love when you call me Sir Rocco, but that's not how other students address me, so I could not please call me Roberto. But Indian students tend to be really, really, really polite. And that's amazing, but it's very, very formal as well. So there is a difference here how we treat the students and teachers. And conflicting work styles. I think you all have experienced that. How people who spend the whole weekend working, and people, I was talking to Michael about that. Well, I want to go and have sports and do something else. I want to have a life. So there are different working styles. Well, Theodox is aware of those things and has pathways for people who feel hurt by stereotypes or singling out or unfair treatment. There are people who are there to listen to you and to take note of what you're saying and to react. We need you to come forward if you feel negative feelings, because we need to know, we need to have access to the information. And this is going to be available on my presentation, but it's kind of all over the campus. You can see if you have conflict of interest or undesirable behavior, there are things you can do. Okay, I want to quote this guy because I think he really summarized what I feel about the university. The emerging global university class entails a curriculum permeated by awareness that political, economic, social, and cultural phenomena in any part of the world can no longer be fully understood in isolation. What does that mean? Long sentence. We can't live in a world where things work in one country. We have to be aware and prepared and able to act everywhere. And I think this became painfully evident with the coronavirus, which doesn't respect borders, right? It's just going everywhere, and it's, we have to act. So this political, economic, social, and cultural phenomena in any part of the world can no longer be fully understood in isolation. We need to understand things in systems of things, right? And in order to do that, here. So increased interdependence requires that the leaders and citizens of tomorrow, you guys are the leaders and citizens of tomorrow, have cross-cultural awareness. I'm not familiar with which faculties you might be. For an architect, it's really, really common to work in an office with dozens of other nationalities. If you go to Mecano or Rencojas, if you want to be an architect in the Netherlands, you have to have cross-cultural communication. I imagine that that's the same for other professions, right? In both their private and public lives, the students of today will find that the outside world cannot be ignored. To an unprecedented extent, the careers of the next generation will be global. Students need to be prepared to interact around the globe in personal challenges they confront as well as the public challenges we face together. We have several public challenges that we face together. Can anyone tell me one public challenge that we have to face together?
Climate change.
Climate change, thank you. Another one? Huh?
Global population.
Global population. Explode. Okay. So I would say the lack of resources, right? Okay, what else? What are the public challenges? Employment rates, yeah.
Migration.
Migration is one challenge. It needs to be managed. Oh, thank you so much for saying that. That's one of the biggest challenges we have to face together is the crisis of our democracy. Even in the Netherlands, democracy is suffering today, right? In India, in Brazil, in Pakistan, in everywhere, democracy is in a bad state. So what can we do together? And that's and I think even if you are a very technical person and you are in aerospace, you have a role to discuss that. Okay, so the public challenges we face together are clear now. What does internationalization mean for the culture of the institution? I'm going to go a bit faster now, because we have a lot of Dutch knowledge that needs to be broadcast to the world. It's not about neocolonialism, but really we have good knowledge and we want to make it known, right? So a lot of things like how Dutch cities are wonderful. Do you agree with me? I mean, the weather is kind of horrible, but the cities are very well organized and very well designed. And they're, somebody said something? Well, I think one thing that is very important for us is to understand that we come here to broadcast Dutch knowledge, to understand Dutch knowledge and to use it and to appropriate, but we don't come here as a foreigner only to learn from the Dutch experience. And that, I think, is important also for teachers to understand. We come here to also share our experiences, right? I have learned, I'm teaching for my Indian friends here, but I have learned more from my Indian students than any course I could have taken on problems that are common around the world, right? So I think if you haven't found that yet, please look for the knowledge that you're missing from your friends. But most of all, I think we come here to learn how to learn. And that's important because in many places of the world, people go, they want to learn stuff. So they come to learn formulas or they come to learn something. But I really believe, and please tell me if I'm wrong, we come here to learn how to learn. So it's an attitude rather than stuff. But what does it mean for you here as a Dutch student, as an international student? Am I doing okay in time? Okay. Well, we have different, this was originally, I missed that architecture, it shouldn't be there. But we have different study traditions. We have different understandings of what our studies are, multiple understanding of the roles that we have in society, and we have diverse cultural attitudes towards learning. I missed this slide because I should have made it more general. and multiple patterns of interpersonal relationship. And this has to do with culture. There is no definition of culture, like a book definition of culture, but I'm going to give you just one for us to think about. The collective programming of the mind, distinguishing the members of one group or category of people from another. It doesn't mean race. I want to make that very clear. It's about cultural difference, right? And cultural differences happen even in the same country. We have different cultures, right? This category can refer to nations, regions, or across nations, ethnicities, religions, occupations, organizations, or genders. So some people say, well, women have a different culture than men sometimes, or they speak differently, or they, and so on. So we have differences in gender. So people from different countries play the game of social interaction via different invisible rules. And let's have a look at these invisible rules are. The first one that I want to explore is power distance. So power distance is this relationship between people who are important and people who are not important. People who have some power and people who don't have power at all. People who are very sophisticated and people who are simple, so put it in some way. And in the Netherlands, the power distance is very short compared to other countries. That's why they don't call me Sir Rocco here. They call me, hey, Roberto. This might give us a little bit of friction in our daily life because some cultures, the power distance is very big. In Italy, tell me if I'm wrong, sometimes the students carry the books of the teachers. That wouldn't happen here. I really would like it to happen, but it doesn't. So, sorry. So this power distance here is very, very short. The other thing that is very important for us to understand is individualism. Dutch society is very interesting. It's very individualistic, or the Dutch think of themselves as very individual, but the society is very collective. Do you see that? Dutch individual? Why do I say it's collective? Well, because there is, everybody's taken care of, everybody has a house, everybody has education, food, and so on. So it's funny that people, I find it funny that people who think, oh, we are all individualists and we don't look, we walk very straight and we are very serious. But in reality, the society is very convivial, actually, very welcoming and very collective. Whether in Brazil, for example, we are very friendly and we kiss and hug all people all the time, and here that wouldn't be done. But it's a very individual society. People have to fend for themselves. That's interesting, right? But what does this mean for us at the university? That people might have a more individual attitude towards group work, for example. But on the other side, they also have, Dutch society has this consensus culture. Have you noticed how many meetings we have to go and how many talks we have to have so that everybody agrees on something? And sometimes people are actually at the end, everybody is unhappy about the result, but they agree on something. That's important. Context. I have a series of slides explaining all these aspects, but I'm going to go through them very fast later on, because I want to explain these things quickly because of time. Context was one of the biggest shocks of my life when I came here. And I will explain what it is. In Brazil, where I come from, when you tell a story, so you call the doctor and you have to tell the doctor, okay, well, I was walking down the road and then a car came from the left and another car came from the right. And there was this old lady, she was almost ran over, so I ran and the car hit me. So I have to give all the context to the doctor so that we have a certain communication. In the Netherlands, it's, hi, I was hit by a car. What do I do? So communication is much more direct and without context. that has to do with the country being so collective, actually, and people actually trusting what other people say. So you will find that maybe your Dutch friends are too direct, but it's because they don't have this idea that they have to give you all the context. Does that make sense? Have you experienced that? Yes? I'm not seeing any nodding heads, but I will trust that they have. So context is an important difference in how communication in this country happens. I was shocked because, of course, I mean, I like to tell stories and I like to talk. So it was like, okay, I went to my colleagues and then they were like, you're wasting my time. So it's a bit shocking, but we have to find ways to communicate. And the other one, finally, is emotional expression. And for emotional expression, I have a little bit of an exercise. So I'm not going to explain one by one, I already did. But I will emotional expression is a very cultural bound thing. We have different cultures and different ways of expressing our feelings, even in normal conversation and in social interaction. And there is this map, actually, that which puts this matrix of emotionally expressive people, emotionally unexpressive people, confrontational, and no and confront avoidance. So my question to you is, for the Dutch in the room, do you think Dutch expression is emotionally emotional or more unemotional? What do you think? Are you emotionally expressed?
It depends.
It depends.
Carnival last week was kind of emotional, I think.
Yeah, that's what we Okay.
No,
Well,
in the middle, somewhere.
in the middle somewhere? Yeah, let's have a look. What about Italy? Is Italy expressive or unexpressive?
Express.
Very expressive, right? Have you seen a car accident in Italy? I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there. Of course. Exactly. I'm going to get there. First, let me introduce that, and then I will get there. So, indeed, in the north of Italy, people are not that emotional. But as a rule, Italians are a little bit more emotional than others. But let's have a look at what the research says. So this is based on research. It says that Israel, Russia, Spain, Italy are more emotionally expressive and more confrontational. So people are not afraid to tell what they want, right? I totally identify with that. I think in Brazil we are more emotionally expressive, but we avoid confrontation, right? And so do Indians and Mexicans. Well, on the side of emotionally unexpressive and that avoid confrontation, we have the UK as the best example. And Japanese people, they are incredibly polite, very reserved, as a rule, right? I know some crazy Japanese, let me tell you. But and Netherlands would be indeed a little bit more to the not completely unexpressive, but more confrontational. So people here are not afraid to tell you what they think, right? Now, as our Italian, and I have a lot of, my family is from Italy, so I have a lot of experience with Italians, is, as our Italian friend reminded us, these are not stereotypes, I wouldn't tell, because it's based on research, but these are generalizations for sure, right? So these are generalizations, and nothing supersedes your identity as a person. But having said that, I think it's a bit useful to understand that people here are very direct. They are a bit confrontational and say, well, I don't agree with you. And in some countries, that's not the case. If I can use India again as an example, because it's similar to Brazil, very difficult to say no, isn't it? And Dutch people are not afraid to say no. That's incredible. Okay. As an example of how communication affects people, this is a funny list of British expressions. So, what the British say, what the British mean, and what others understand. Have you seen this before? So if a British person comes to you, you have a British professor, and he says, "Oh, interesting," or "Ooh, fascinating," it means it's horrible, right? Go back, go home. It's horrible. So if a British person says, "Oh, fascinating," it's the worst. Really. If a British person says, "Oh, I hear what you say. I hear what you say. I completely disagree with you." I was a bit disappointed that he didn't show up on time. Please don't be late. Right? So there are many, many different ways to communicate. Now, I've heard that people say, you never really know what British people are saying. And I say, well, if you are British, you do know. Huh? So it's not that they are lying. They are not lying. They are only using another cultural program, right, to say the same thing. And if you are British, or if you have familiarity with the British culture, you understand what is being said. So we need to be a bit patient with people to understand what they actually mean, and we have to be a little bit aware of how they're saying it. However, and I'm going to finish. Cultural generalization cannot replace respect and appreciation for individual life stories. So our individual life stories supersede these generalizations, right? And I hear a lot about tolerance, and I love tolerance, and I think we need tolerance in this world. But I really rather would love to have respect. Respect for other people, and more than respect. This is Aretha Franklin, and she sings an amazing song called Respect. So I know this is lost on you guys because I'm old, sorry. But I played this song in the lecture I give, and it's a great song. It's called Respect. But more than respect, I would plead for appreciation. So more than tolerance, I think we should have respect, and more than respect, I think we should have real appreciation. I like the way you are. Okay, and on this note, thank you so much.